Hey there, toy collector friends and Transformers fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. I am the time-travelling toy collector, and this is the Takara Tomy Hasbro Transformers Studio Series 86 Figure 11 Perceptor, as Perceptor appeared in the 1986 The Transformers the movie, which of course we all know and love dearly. What a fantastic figure. This is again one of those figures that in its original incarnation didn't make it over to the UK as an official product. So I think it was cropped up in some secondary markets here and there. I never was lucky enough to have sight of one or handle one. So I was thrilled when I saw this figure come up in the Studio Series. I thought that's a must-have for me, and it was, and I have it, so that's fantastic. Before we look at the figure, a quick look at the packaging it comes in. It's still using plastic windows for this one. There's your Transformers the movie official logo. That's better lighting. There's some lovely artwork of Perceptor there, Studio Series 86 11. So the 11th figure in this line. Some nice Perceptor on the side. Ditto for this side, and of course on the back we get the traditional and expected product shots where we have robot mode, we have microscope mode, and we have peculiar battle station tank laser cannon gun mode thing. And of course it comes with a backdrop, as do all the Studio Series 86 figures, and in this case it is the Battle of Autobot City. So that's enough of the packaging. And this is the figure, so let's get a look at the figure here. It's actually, I think it's again a really lovely figure. It's nicely articulated. It's better articulated to my understanding than an awful lot of those figures that we got back in the 80s. As I say, I never had the original Perceptor, but this is pretty good. I mean, the color scheme of course is as was on the movie. He has this here. He can have it adjusted slightly. It just tabs so it can rest above the back there. There are a couple of alternative positions for it, but I kind of like it where I remember it being, which is sort of on his shoulder. He has very nice head sculpt. I'm going to just zoom in a bit for the head sculpt because I'm very conscious that I'm a bit far away for that. So let's do a bit of a zoom in so you can really see. There you go. So there is Perceptor, nice up close and personal, and I think that you'll agree that's a really nice head sculpt. I love the little blue on the eyes and the gold on the crest of the head / helmet. Autobot insignia is there on the chest, behind that translucent plate. We do now, one of the key differences between this Studio Series 86 release and the original is the original worked, in inverted commas, as a microscope. This version doesn't. It has some minor, you can look through the scope, but it doesn't really give you much. So all of these dials that appear on Perceptor's body, they don't actually do anything. They're just there for decoration, really. But yeah, so we've got lots of nice articulation in all the directions you would expect. We don't have we don't have complete coverage. There's some gappage in the forearms, but again, that's to support transformation, and it is a deluxe figure. So there you go. It is a deluxe. It's very, I mean, it's neat though. I mean, it's very neatly done. As I say, the colours really work for me. There's a lot, almost too much articulation in the legs, and I say that with a wry smile because I know one of our often biggest complaints is the level of articulation. But in the legs, they can go out sideways, so you can do the splits and all the rest of the stuff that you would expect him to be able to do in the 21st century. But he's also got this, for transformation, this other joint here, which means that his legs, he can look a little bit beaten up. So if you want to do some photo shoots with Perceptor getting wrecked by some Decepticons, this is the figure for you. Otherwise though, the legs are quite nice, very sturdy, got some ankle tiltage that you can use there. for display purposes and posing. You see, that's quite loose there, unless you want to see him do his boogaloo dancing. It was a bit like Metal Mickey for people who remember who Metal Mickey was. That's him doing his Metal Mickey dance. Apologies, don't hang up on me now just because of that. Please forgive me. But I think, yeah, all in all, he's a really lovely and really, I'll come out of it now, poseable and playable with figure. He really does. He's very tactile. I really like having my hands on him. He lends himself well to posing, and he really is fun. And I think it's one of those things. It's an interesting dichotomy, I think, for us, because, you know, I never had the original. The original lent itself very much, as did all or most of the original Transformer figures, as did most of the toys from the 70s and the 80s, let's be honest, to spurring on our imagination, whereas now our imagination doesn't have to work quite as hard because the figures can do so much more. The counter argument, I suppose, to that is now our imaginations are freer to do more imagining because some of the stuff is taken care of for us, so we don't have to overwork our imaginations to make things believable, because actually we can pose them, they can do stuff, because the playability factor is also included within the engineering. So that's just me musing a little on this figure. So I'm gonna just zoom out a little bit more for you, just so you can see him against the standard diorama that we get. In this case, this is for the Battle for Autobot City, as mentioned before, and I shall now transform him up. So see you in a second. And without further ado, here he is, all transformed into his more familiar microscope mode. Now, it's very, again, faithful to the original, perhaps not quite as blocky or as heavy as the original. And again, I'm guessing the weight from how the original appeared. But he certainly does have everything you'd need to go, oh yeah, that's Perceptor in his microscope mode. Now, as I said before, he doesn't actually work like a microscope, so you can't adjust it in any way. You can adjust the angle, and you can, but that's about it. In terms of articulation for this, you can adjust the angle here, but not really anything else. This comes down as the slide holder, but isn't really effective as a slide holder, in my opinion. But it does the job of conveying the microscope mode that Perceptor's very famous for using, most notably when he's identifying the fact that, yeah, Optimus is going to buy the farm anytime now in that film. It's a really easy, straightforward and stress-free transformation. I mention that because so often they're not, particularly with the newer figures. Some of the engineering, super impressive, super inventive, really clever, but ultimately terrifying, with stiff joints, things you think are going to break. And well, I'm speaking personally, this is one of the reasons, as those of you who followed a lot of my videos will know, that I do the transformations off screen, because I think I'd be taken off air with all the swearing, with some of the things I'd be saying when I'm trying to do the transformations. But Perceptor, absolutely, this is the first time, because it's always the first time when I do these videos, it's the first time that I've transformed him. And I've got to be honest, it was super straightforward, super easy and super intuitive, which is, I'll be honest, not always my experience with some of the newer Transformers. And I include the Studio Series 86 in that, some of them anyway. That said, that's not a criticism or a complaint in either direction. I think we're in a new age, and quite rightly things should move on. And as I say, this was a fun, easy transformation. I really enjoyed doing it. It's very compact. It does look like a microscope. It certainly looks like Perceptor used to look. And I believe, and I'm going to put this out there, I may be, this is going, live in March 2023, but I believe there's currently talk of a repainted reissue of G1 Perceptor that may be coming to stores shortly, with the cartoon accurate colour scheme. I think they've released Starscream and Hot Rod so far. It's the original toy moulds, just with the on-screen animated 1980s paint job. And I believe Perceptor might be one that is coming up in the near future. So if that's the case, I may actually entertain the idea of picking that up, because it's G1 but it's not, and I really did always want to have that figure. I'll have a look, I'll see, maybe one day we'll be looking at that in this display station, who knows. However, this is not the end for Perceptor, because he also comes with a third mode, rightly or wrongly, but I'm going to show it to you anyway, and that's his sort of mobile tank battle station microscope warhead battle mode, obviously, which every microscope should come with. So give me a couple of seconds and we shall transform him into that. Yeah, so here we have Perceptor changed into his, well, mobile weapons platform cannon thing. I mean, it's a thing you can do, you know, if it grabs you. I'll be honest, my copy didn't want to do it. There's a few tabs around the leg and arm joints when you convert it to this mode that really resisted going in. So I think that's the gods of G1 saying, no, please don't do it. But on this version, you now can see the treads. You can see some of that external detailing, so you do get a sense that it's deployable in the field. But it doesn't really feel too different in appearance. I mean, I know it's just collapsed down, but it doesn't feel too different in appearance to microscope mode. And being deluxe, microscope mode looks like something that sits on your desk. You can have it next to, you've got pens, you've got a notepad, you're making notes about what you're looking at. I believe it could be a microscope. I then struggle to, this is a kind of a throwaway mode for me. I mean, maybe, who knows, there might be some way I could use it. I think it's interesting if it's supposed to be a battle mode, that here we are in the Battle of Autobot City, and it didn't actually occur to Perceptor to turn himself into this mode to take on the Decepticon attack. You'd think that would have been a bit of a logical thing for him to try and do. He didn't do it. So I'm going to take that cue from Perceptor and think I'm probably not going to use this mode as a key display piece in future. But overall, I think the figure is great. I really love in general the ease and simplicity of the transformation. It doesn't cause me any anxiety moving and disconnecting and reconnecting the tabs. Everything moves fluidly. It's very intuitive, which is what I like. It's very, and in being so, it's very evocative of those G1 figures, because most of them, with a few quirky elements, were quite intuitive. So I like that aspect of this. So do I think that Studio Series 8611 Perceptor has a place in your collection? Well, if you're a fan of Transformers, then probably yeah. If you're a fan of G1 Transformers, then definitely yeah. And if you're a modern day collector who wasn't really around or able to pick up all of those originals, then definitely yeah. Especially if you're trying to collect the cast for the Studio Series 86 range, so that you will have as close to cinematically accurate Transformers from the animated movie from 1986. I love the range so far. I've not yet come across a dud, but who knows what's lying in wait in the future. And hopefully you'll join me for all of the future Studio Series 86 figures as I present them to you. Thank you for spending the last 20 or so minutes with me. I will pop a couple of pictures of Perceptor in his robot and his alt mode. Probably not this mode, because it doesn't really do anything for me. So it's just there because it can be. It's not one I'm going to be using, so I probably won't do any photos of this, because I think staging wise is, yeah, it doesn't fire me up. But the other two I'll do something with those and include those as a coda to the video. Thanks for sticking around. If you don't already, please subscribe to the channel and also hit the like button. And why not turn on the notifications so you never miss a future video, which could be more Transformers, could be Star Trek, could be Star Wars, could be G.I. Joe, could be Doctor Who, could be who knows what. And yeah, it'll be great to have you along for the ride. And if you are brand new here, why not check out the various playlists, including my Studio Series 86. That's a good place to start. Transformers Through Time. I've got quite a few, and they will continue to grow and expand as my collection grows and expands. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I appreciate that no end. You've been a fantastic audience. This has been Studio Series 8611 from Takara Tomy and Hasbro. It's Perceptor, and I have been the time-travelling toy collector, which just leaves me with one final message for you, and that is that a thing of beauty, maybe not in this mode, really is a toy forever. Take care, and bye-bye for now.